Yeah. You are recording on this somewhere.
Right. Good to go. All right, I'll call to order the Town of Mount Desert Planning Board meeting for August 23rd, 2023. Welcome aboard. We are in hybrid territory still, as we are meeting in person in the meeting room here on C Street, as well as obviously online for you joining us on Zoom. I'll make some introductions and we'll get going. All right, so myself, I'm William Hanley, I'm chair. We've got in the room with me, Tracy Loftus-Keller.
Hello.
Our newest board member, Alan Kimmerly. And online, we've got Dave Ashmore. Hi, Dave.
Hello.
All right, so and then tonight, not too heavy of an agenda. We've got a conditional use approval application and a couple of things, other items under item 4. I'll ask if you are on Zoom, could you please sign in to chat? So we've just got a record of who's online with us. And I'll just, as you can see on Zoom, the proceedings are being recorded as well as in the meeting room here, on chat. We're just keep your mics off, stay on mute. Hopefully we all know the Zoom drill by now. Don't use chat as like for any side discussions or anything. Raise your hand if you got something to say. We'll get right to you and let's get on with it. So item 2 on the agenda tonight, we've got approval of minutes. However, no minutes before us at the moment, so let's keep going. Item 3 on the agenda tonight, we've got a conditional use application. We've got conditional use approval application 009-2023. Owner is Harbor Watch Yacht Club LLC. Care of Kevin Mahaney. Agent is Evan Morris from Lake Flato Architects. Location is off Harbor Watch Lane, Northeast Harbor, tax map 24, lot 133-002. The zone is shoreline residential 2. Purpose is section 3.4, recreational, non-commercial, outdoor recreational facility, a swimming pool and spa. We had a site inspection at 5 o'clock, and Tracy, was this one duly advertised?
Yes, it was. Notices went out to abutters, and it was advertised in the Ellsworth American and Mount Desert Islander on Thursday, August 10th.
Right, fantastic. So just to clarify, based on the timing of the packet being given out, the voting members on this application tonight are myself, Tracy, and Dave. And perhaps Tracy would like to inform us about the site inspection today.
Sure. Alan and I attended the site inspection, and we met with the property manager, whose name
Chris Murray.
Chris Murray. Thank you. And we observed. We walked from a parking area a little bit through the woods to a lovely sort of a meadow setting behind a barn building which is being constructed, and observed some stakes in the ground. And you described the basic location where this would go. It sort of backs up to this beautiful little rise in land, and it's a lap pool, and we've been given a very nice picture to illustrate what it will look like when it's there. It appears to be quite a nice facility or location for facility, and I understand there will be a regulatory fence of some kind to go up around it, comply with that. See what else I can tell you. It's supposed to be measuring 80 foot long and 12 feet 10 inches wide. And there's a spa that goes with it that's 11 feet by 11 feet square.
Definitely the biggest drawings the board has received this year so far. So thank you.
Is it the biggest pool or just the biggest drawings?
Definitely the biggest drawings, and I think it's the only pool received so
Okay.
far.
All
So,
right, I'll take both medals. Thank you.
yes.
Do you have anything to add, Alan?
Not on that. The one thing I was wondering, and I may be off base on this, if this is a yacht club, and it says recreational, non-commercial for the pool.
No, it's just a.
That's the name of the property, it's not a,
Okay.
yeah,
Just the LLC.
that's just the owner. It's a private residential property.
Private personal yacht club.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Now, the spot that says, you said is 11 by 11,
That's what it appears to say on the,
the orange shows 8 by 8.
okay, well, the typed portion up here says spa measures 11 by 11.
Did
Well-
it change?
Well, why don't we turn it over to Mr. Morris
Mm.
from Lake Flotto, and you guys can add to the observations from the site visit and just walk us through the project a bit more.
Yeah, sure. Happy to. Thank you for having us and letting us join remote. Yeah, so I guess just to answer or clarify the question, the most recent question about the size, I think the discrepancy is just that in the form we put the outside physical dimensions of the staked out portion that include the coping, the water line or the water to water dimension of the spa is 8 by 8, and including the coping, it's 11 by 11. So that would be the same. If you see a discrepancy, the pool is a 75-foot sort of regulation lap pool, and so the outside dimensions include the structure and the coping. I think as many of you noted, it is just a single family residential lot, so no public use, just a private facility. And yeah, I mean, I think for those of you who had the opportunity to walk the site today, you saw a barn that we designed that is currently under construction. It'll have it's a bedroom space, some bedrooms, but it's really a big open air screen porch for summer use and for gathering. And so we call it kind of the gathering barn. And it's really to support, people enjoying the outdoors in the summer. You can see a little bit in the drawing, and for those of you who are able to make the site visit, that the barn nestles right up against a ledge hill that has this really beautiful exposed kind of granite ledge that's happily growing some really beautiful moss. And so the design concept sort of nestles a long lap pool against that stone hill, that ledge, and really is intended to feel sort of integrated with the landscape, and sort of one with the bottom of that little rise in the land. So yeah, what specific questions, if any, do you have for us, or if there's anything else that I can speak to? I'm happy to do that.
Tracy, you had mentioned that there was mention of a fence around the pool. Yeah,
Or around the property. I just was thinking of
yeah.
compliance with regulation.
Yeah,
So it'll be a combination of more local fence near the pool, and then I think a section at the property line as well. So I think that's in the plan documents. So really the intention is to have the fence go away and not be a big part of the immediate pool experience. And so you can see that the fence is aligned basically at the property line on the north side of the property, and then travels sort of up sort of high at a higher elevation above the pool on the eastern side of the property, sort of adjacent to where Harbor Wash Lane is, and then travels sort of back down the hill and connects to the barn. And so on the south side of the property, we're actually using the barn itself as a the building itself as a portion of the fence, to protect, egress, in and out of the protected pool area. And then on the west side, we're following kind of an existing easement road, a little grass pathway. And so the pool will be aligned there. So then in the fence design, I think we're still kind of going through those options with the owners, but it'll probably be a combination of a couple different fences. The ones that are kind of tucked into the woods are going to be kind of quite minimal, welded wire mesh fences, and a kind of a 1-by-1 pattern. So things that feel very transparent and kind of get lost in the woods. And then the fence that's more along the pedestrian pathway on the west side of the pool enclosure, will probably be something that will work on the design of it, but something that you felt, a little bit more happy to experience and to have part of your kind of daily walks around.
Got it. Well, I'll open it up for any questions from the public. Not seeing a packed house here and only having one member of the public online. Ines, any questions about the project?
No, thank you. Sounds great.
Okay, thanks. All right, well, I'll close the public hearing on that and let's get going on it. Let's first see if we've got a motion maybe on the table to find the application complete.
Tracy Keller, I'll make a motion to find the application complete.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Oh, how does the board feel about maybe using the short form checklist on this one?
Tracy Keller, I'll make a motion to use a short form checklist.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. And then we have this little procedural weirdness where would anybody care to make a motion to approve the application?
Okay, Tracy Keller, I'll make a motion to approve the application.
Dave Ashmore, second.
And then we press pause and we have a discussion on the project. So let's go through it. So this is a conditional use application. We're reviewing section 6A, B, and C of the land use ordinance, as well as section 5.9 as it's in the shoreline zone. I've got the applicant's conditional use application in front of me. I've got the short form checklist and let's do our homework. Let's see if they did their homework. All right. Section 6A, general performance standards, compatibility. They talk about the physical size of the pool, the visual impact of the pool. It's flush with the pavement and it's no higher than 2 feet out of the grade. It's aesthetically integrated, the proximity to other structures. It's about 7 feet from the exterior face of a new single-family residence, and density of development. The application's only for the pool, so see application. Erosion and sedimentation control. So they've got a stormwater narrative provided. See application. Highway safety. It's a swimming pool. 6A3 NA. Impact on town services. Say an A. Land suitability. So they've got a attached soil analysis from the Hancock County Soil Survey report. See application. lighting outdoor. They've got all the lighting locations, and specs on the sheet A200. See application, stormwater, 6A7. They've got a stormwater narrative provided. So see application, 6A8 vegetation. Applicant mentions there's 3 trees to be removed. And that the tree removal was part of a previous building permit. So see application, and 6A9 dust fumes, vapors, odors, and gases. And say NA. So the findings of fact are that the findings of fact are as presented by the applicant in the attached application. The conclusion of law is that the proposed use is in compliance with all standards of section 6A for which the standard has been met.
Tracy Keller, so moved.
Dave Ashmore, second.
Right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Right, section 6B. Right, 6B1 agriculture is NA, 6B2 air landing sites. Yeah, that's supposed to be off our checklist, but it is denoted as, yeah, as NA. Yeah. And then we, for some reason, jumped down to 6B7 excavation. If the applicable standard met. See application. 6B8 fences and walls. The applicant says that there's approximately 641 feet, 3 inches of lineal feet of fencing to be added. There's 565 feet, 6 inches of wood fencing and 75 feet and 9 inches of stone wall. Do we have any details on that?
Yeah, I filled it on the site plan A100.
Yeah. Do you need to see any elevations of that though, in terms of the fence height? No, okay. So see application, sign regulations, and A. 6B18 wireless communication facilities. I didn't see any cell towers proposed. 6B19 animal husbandry true to NA. 6B20 mobile food vendors NA. 6B21 rooming house NA. 6B22 hotels and motels NA. So the findings of fact are that the proposed use will include none of the specific activities or land uses described in section 6B, except for section 6B7 and section 6B8. And the conclusion law is that section 6B is not applicable except for section 6B7 and 6B8, for which the standard has been met.
Tracy Keller, so moved.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. So we are in the shoreland zone here. So we continue on to section 6C of the land use ordinance. So section 6C1 agriculture, NA, 6C2 archaeological sites.
You got a map in there.
Yep, so see application, 65 essential services, NA. 66 parking areas. NA. 67 marine and freshwater structure standards, you're not building a pier. NA. 69 roads and driveways. NA, we're here for a swimming pool. And 6011 water quality. You say NA. So the findings of fact are that the proposed use will include none of the specific activities and land uses described in section 6C except for section 6C2. And that the conclusion laws that section 6C is not applicable except for section 6C2 to which the standard has been met.
Tracy Keller, so moved.
Dave Ashmore, second.
Okay, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Continuing on to section 5.9, since we are in the shoreline zone. Okay, 591 will maintain safe and healthful conditions. See application. 592 will not result in water pollution, erosion, or sedimentation to surface waters. See application. 593 will adequately provide for the disposal of all wastewater. NA, but that just brings a question to mind. What are you doing if the pool has to be drained?
Mr. Morris,
Yeah,
you got an answer for that, Evan?
Well, typically when we drain pools, it goes into civil, into the city services drain. So, in a neighborhood application, it would go into a curb gutter or something like that. And so we would need to provide an inlet to drain the pool in that event. I think the more frequent or, kind of, maybe more pertinent piece of the protections of the local water are described in C1 of the application, the civil engineering plan, which provides an erosion and sedimentation control plan for construction. So it does not specifically address the event of draining the pool, but I can certainly work with the civil engineer to understand what that would look like.
mhm. Right. .594 will not have an adverse impact on spawning grounds, fish, aquatic life, bird, or other wildlife habitat. They say see application. 595 will conserve shore cover and visual as well as actual points of access to inland and coastal waters. They say see application. 596 will protect archaeological and historic resources. See application. 597 will not adversely affect existing commercial fishing or maritime activities in a shoreline commercial district. They're not in a shoreline commercial district. NA. 598 will avoid problems associated with the floodplain. See application. And 599 is in conformance with provisions of section 6A, B, and C, which the standard has been met. And the findings of fact are see above, and the conclusion was that all requirements for section 5.9 have been met. Are there any permit conditions to this one? Oh, yes, thank you.
Given the fact that you're going to address the water removal portion of it at a later date.
Yeah, let's get a motion first on
Okay.
5.9.
Okay, so moved.
Yep,
You're
Dave
muted.
Ashmore, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. Right, back to permit conditions. I think we should hear from the applicant what's happening when the pool's drained.
Yeah.
So, what does Kim have any comment regarding what she does when somebody gets a pool through a regular permit?
Yeah, no, I haven't had anybody provide.
Yeah.
Brian might be able to help you.
Yeah, so-
He's here from Public Works.
Yeah, so you guys are lucky. We got the Public Works Director here tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, Brian Hankel has his hand up here and perhaps Brian could help us with that one.
So I'm not familiar with where the location is and whether or not you're going to have any kind of stormwater infrastructure nearby. One part of the permit conditions ought to be that it doesn't go into any sanitary sewer.
Mhm.
Shouldn't be putting any kind of stormwater or pools into a sanitary sewer system. It can go into the stormwater system. But keep in mind that I'm assuming it's gonna be chlorinated.
Yes.
Allowing about 10 days of not adding any additional chemicals prior to draining the pool will allow basically the sun and oxygen and just natural decomposition of the chemicals that the chlorine will basically go away after 10 days. Generally speaking, that will reduce the chlorine levels enough that it can be put into the storm sewer system. If there isn't a storm sewer system nearby, then your erosion control matters, I think, come into play and being able to, safely and effectively discharge it onto the land surface. But that 10 days, if you can't do the 10 days, then you can have a pool company come in and dechlorinate it. And so they can add another chemical that'll take the chlorine out and it'll go faster and you can get it to non-chlorinated water. So that you're putting fresh water on the land surface or in the storm sewer.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
The property actually is right next to the parking lot here. Right over, just down from the mobile vendor, the fence with all the trees in the front.
Sure.
The lot's right there. Is there a stormwater?
In the marina area?
Yeah.
I bet there is. I don't know where it is on the top of my head.
No,
You know,
I'm
we-
just familiar with the property. It's right here. Yeah.
The property is on city sanitary, but does not have a stormwater inlet, being a kind of a rural residential lot. So I guess I would, without talking to the civil engineer, suggest, one of two things, which is that we have certainly allowed for the percolation of site runoff in the civil engineering plan, both for area runoff from surface water, but also the footing drains for the building, et cetera. And all of those are being directed towards areas for percolation. And so certainly we could add the potential volume for a pool draining event to those. And we would probably just need to understand a sort of like a rate of flow to make sure that the areas that we've kind of designated for percolation were adequate. And so I think that's certainly possible. I think as a precaution, we would certainly suggest that the owner dechlorinate the water, both for their own local flora and also for the health of the groundwater. So I guess as a next step, that would be something that we could do is just talk to the civil engineer about the volume of and how best to address and manage that water on site.
So perhaps the board makes as a permit condition that we receive a letter from the applicant and with their civil engineers input on the project and how the water is being managed and when the pool is drained.
That's certainly something we can provide.
Great, thank you. Hey, do you want to read that one back?
I wanna say it again.
Okay.
Sorry, I got letter from the applicant with a civil engineer's recommendation.
Yes, on how to handle the discharge of water from the pool.
Okay.
Did we say chlorinated water? Dave, any thoughts on that? How specific should we be with that?
I don't, water's water. I would say that if they're discharging water from the pool, there ought to be a method.
Yeah,
Most likely it would be dechlorinated.
yeah,
Or-
yeah,
or else-
the past pools we've done, there's been mention about the concern of discharge of chlorinated water.
Right. So why wouldn't the letter state that any water that's going to be discharged from the pool will be dechlorinated?
Yeah, the applicant feels okay with that wording,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
No, I think, I mean, I think that's a prudent measure. I mean, I think normally when we drain pools into, city stormwater systems, we know that stormwater is going to get treated and that kind of thing. And so that process happens after we discharge it. But if it's getting percolated into the ground, then I think it makes sense that treatment happened prior to the discharge of the water. So I think we'd be comfortable asking the civil engineer to make that stipulation within their recommendation.
You want to read it back, Heidi?
Sure, letter
Yeah.
from the applicant with the civil engineer's recommendation on how to handle the discharge of water from the pool and the assurance that the water discharge will be dechlorinated.
Sounds good.
And letter to be received prior to issuing the building permit.
Got that.
And only because I'm new to your processes, but can that letter be issued asynchronously from these meetings? Like if we sent you that letter next week, that, okay, great.
Yeah.
One more time.
One more time, Heidi.
A letter to be received from the applicant with the civil engineer's recommendation on how to handle discharge of water from the pool and the assurance that water discharge will be dechlorinated. The letter is to be received prior to issuing the building permit.
Great, thanks.
That also incorporates the, spa.
Pool and spa.
And so,
Got it. Okay, now we'd circle back to our 8-track recorder and press play on the motion to approve. So,
and we want to approve with permit conditions. We
Yeah.
might want to restate that.
all right, let's restate that. So I guess we got to rescind our previous approval then. And so let's first get a motion on that.
I make a motion to rescind our previous approval.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, second.
all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. And now let's make a new motion to approve.
Tracy Keller, I make a new motion to approve, subject to the previously stated conditions,
Permit
Dave
condition.
permit conditions.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
and myself, William Hanley, aye. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Well, we appreciate it, Tracy, Dave, William. We are not going to remember will not forget your names now. I've heard them enough. And you're all invited to the first pool party. Thank you.
All right, see you there.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, Chris.
I do know how to swim.
Okay. So we gotta sign this first.
Okay. Need to borrow your pen, please.
Yeah.
you.
Okay, that's my copy. That's. Goes here. All right, item 4 on the agenda tonight, other. Hi, Gail. We have, yes, we have a planning board application tonight from Gail Marshall. And Gail, thank you for your typed application and happy to have you here and we happy to have you on the board here shortly. So let's talk to Gail and I'll just run through the questions on the application. I'll let Gail answer them. So she's looking for a planning board appointment. And first question on the application was, have you previously served on any other boards or committees in the town of Mount Desert? Please describe your experience.
Well, and the answer is I indicated in my written reply is that I served a total of 10.5 years on the school board in this town. And the last time I did that was for about 1.5 years, and I came in to fill a vacancy and continue on from that, and that concluded in May of this year. During my service, throughout my whole service, the board, I served as chair of just about every committee. You know, the school board system is, the governance system is unusual, and we have multiple committees that you get elected to when you get elected here. And I was at various times the chair of each one of those. I was lead negotiator for contract negotiations on numerous occasions. And so I've sort of done like all of that. I served for 3 years in the warrant committee, and most recently, I was with Brian for some of those. And once I took the vacancy in the school board, the rules prohibit you from service on the warrant committee. So I resigned from that position. Now, my child serves on the warrant committee, so they don't even know one of us in that space. Especially you, me, my child. So that's my prior.
Great. It sounds like you have definitely been there and done that. Yeah. Do you have any other background experiences or skills you feel would contribute to this appointment?
Well, I mean, my training is as a lawyer. I refer to myself as a lapse lawyer. Because I stopped working as a lawyer when my child was born, and as I said, they're now warrant committee. But once you become a lawyer, you go through that process, you develop a framework for understanding issues, analyzing issues. And I never dealt with land use issues. My last work was as an assistant attorney in elsewhere. But you have a comfort level with reading statutes and ordinances and trying to interpret what they mean. So I think that's relevant. It doesn't make me a land use expert. I have like everything to learn about that, but and I have ideas about how to begin to do that. So yeah.
I can pretty much guarantee a familiarity will be gained with the land use ordinance,
Yes.
the subdivision ordinance,
State statutes.
yeah, all that good stuff. All right. So why are you interested in this appointment?
Well, I believe in public service, and I take that very seriously. And I don't think our democracy functions without self-governance, and our self-governance doesn't work without individuals stepping forward to participate. And so that's just so hardwired into who I am and what my belief system is. I wish that you hadn't had to plead plaintively for people to come and join, that more people were stepping up. But I'm here and I'm willing to continue serving, and I have the time and interest to do it. So that's it, and as I indicated also in my statement to you, I am a Maine native, I'm a coast of Maine native, it's been 70 years I've been living on the coast of Maine, and the last 40 of it here in MDI. I have had experience building a couple homes, and I worked with Kim on the last home project, and I felt that I gained a lot, and I was at the closest thing to a general contractor we had for building our houses. I wouldn't ever call myself actually a general contractor, but I was the chief cook and bottle washer. So, and I liked working with Kim, I liked the process, I'm glad I'm not doing it again, I sort of timed out that process. Another aspect is we don't own any other property than that, we have no personal interests, or financial interests that would interfere with any of my work. So any conflicts, as I indicated, my husband's about to be retired as a primary care doctor at the hospital, and then well, been at that hospital for 25 years, but in Ellsworth before that, for another years. So that's kind of it. It's sort of very simple for me. I was sort of thinking, what am I going to do now that I'm out of the school board? And I'm happy to pick up a new skill set.
Sure, the planning board can definitely keep.
Yes, well, everybody,
Any conflicts with meeting times or?
no, not
any of
that.
that?
No.
Yeah, we're the second, fourth Wednesday of every month.
Right, that's
6
just
o'clock.
We have special.
Yeah, the special hearings definitely happen. And, we try to keep a pretty managed meeting and, keep it between 6 and 9 PM. And as difficult as that may be, sometimes I think we can all attest to that not much productivity happens after 9 o'clock at night. We'd love to have you on the board. And would anybody, well, let me first ask, any other questions, Dave?
Oh, I'm all set. I'm just wondering if there's an issue about being overqualified.
Yeah, no, I can assure you that there is.
Yeah,
The one thing that I'm very interested in doing is getting trained, and I know I went on the MMA website last week after I sent in the request and saw that they were going to have last week a training for new members, and I tried to get Claire to sign me up for it, but apparently they were already subscribed, so, but they will have an on-demand replay, which I'm looking forward to sitting down with, and I can do a lot on my computer, but I'm also a manual person, so I'm looking forward to getting manuals that I can wade into and at least give me a beginning grounding.
one thing I'll say too is one really enjoyable aspect of the planning board too are the site visits.
Yeah,
And how they really put the applications in the context, and
yes,
definitely would encourage you to attend as many as those as you can. And,
yes,
I think that's a wonderful role that the planning board plays in the application process.
absolutely.
Any comments, questions,
No, we were
Tracy?
very happy to have you come
Yeah.
join us.
Well, perhaps someone could formulate a motion where we could make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen to consider Gail's application for the planning board.
Dave? Tracy Keller, I'd like to make a motion to recommend Gail to the
Planning board,
to join the planning board. To
to the Board of Selectmen.
the Board of Select.
Yeah,
Dave Ashmore, second.
excellent. All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, aye.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Manley, aye. So yeah, the boarding, I'll email Claire to make the recommendation, and we'll get you into active duty as soon as we can. And one thing too is like, let's just it's funny, it's feast or famine. We haven't had any planning board applications in forever. And now Alan just came on and, I mean, you'll be on board shortly too. And, one thing, Alan, is for some reason we had indicated on our form work that you wanted to be an alternate member, but there was some question about, it seemed like, we have a vacancy for a full-time member.
I wanted to be a full-time member.
Yeah,
Not
so-
an alternate.
Yeah, so that was some wording I wanted to get clarified. So one thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna clean that up and reach out to the Board of Selectmen and just clarify that just based on that wording, we need you and you're willing to be a full-time applicant. So then if we have you as a full-time board member, then we've got a full board between you, me, Tracy, Meredith, and Dave. Right? Yeah, there's 5. So that means, Gail, you would be initially coming on as an alternate member. And if there was any vacancy on the board at any hearing, then we would vote you on as a full-time member, a voting member of the board. So just to clarify that. So we got just a little clerical work to do on that, but I'll mention that to Claire and her.
I know Mr. Kimmerly was voted on as an alternate by the select board. on
Yeah,
Monday.
I
So
don't,
I can confirm that those words were used.
yeah, so I
Well, I think
don't.
that's how it was sent to him.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
sent to the board as
Yeah.
a
I don't know
request.
why we had alternate on the agenda, but I was pretty certain that you probably wanted to be full-time. We had one open full-time position.
We'll make sure you got the proper ball and chain, Alan. All right, so that,
And I didn't ask a question about that. As an
Mhm.
alternate, would you want or expect an alternate to participate in the meetings, but just not vote? Or-
yes,
And
And
absolutely.
attend all the site visits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you just can't vote if they have
Yeah.
a vote. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a participatory alternate position
Okay.
for sure.
That's good.
Yeah,
And regarding participation, I should just say that I know that you have another exciting meeting coming up next time, and the select board meeting.
Yeah.
before then. I would assume in a situation like that, or in any matter, that first of all, the board does have the right to decide that someone on the board should or should not vote on a particular application. And so there's that, first of all. But secondly, I would never want to vote on a proposal that I didn't feel fully informed about.
mhm,
So I would make
Yeah.
an effort to become as informed as possible, should that be needed. But I just want you to know that I will check myself and will say, not this time on this issue, because it's,
I think
I'm beyond it's beyond the middle of the problem. But-
absolutely, and Kim can talk more about that, but what we would have to have a new board member do is go back and review all of the proceedings,
Right.
all of the information, actually sign an affidavit saying that you've done so in
Right.
order to be in a voting position on the subject matter. And in this case, I would expect that you and Alan are probably not gonna be there, in that position to vote on it at this point where we've, hopefully only have one more hearing on it. But we shall see. And Kim, did I state that correctly? Yeah. Yeah, like one of the real challenges was the quarry. I mean, the quarry's been going on for 8 years and we've had board members come on and off during that. And I remember Tracy made a
Gotcha.
tremendous investment.
I
of
listened to
time
hours of audio tape,
to get up to,
Tons and tons of people.
yeah,
So-
a couple
Well, my
times.
old friend Joe Tracy told me that he left the board.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Joe got the gold medal for sticking with, I think it was
22 years.
22 years. Yes.
We couldn't take it anymore. Yeah, Miller too, that.
Yeah. So there's that. One other item tonight is, we've got Brian Hankel here tonight, our Public Works Director. So first off, let me congratulate you on your new position. I'm sure you were, jumped right into the fire on that one too, and glad to have you here tonight. So you already doing great things in the town, so thank you.
Thanks.
Mhm.
I know some of the board might know Gail. Go to your alternate. I was on the school board with Gail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. On that, we were on March together, but I've known Gail from prior to that as well. And I live in Somersville as well, so I'm off the Beach Hill Road and the Ripples Hill development, that's the Island Housing Trust development. I'm on Sydney's Way.
Yeah.
Alan, I think you're familiar with that neighborhood, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
My better half.
Yeah, you're just around the corner. I've lived here on the island for a little over 8 years. I know Meredith a little bit from an application, and then also I see her out Jeffrey Roads quite often. And Bill, I know a little bit from school stuff.
Yeah.
Piano recitals.
Fellow audiophile.
Right, and Silco Auto Museum, so Alan, I didn't get to know you very well, just met you a couple of times when they put it in a town meeting, and Tracy, it's nice to meet you.
Yes, you too.
But I'm happy to be here. Civil engineers background,
Yeah.
hydrologist, and
Fantastic.
started in January, and I'm really happy with it. I work great, with great people.
No, I know one of them
Yeah,
is very highly remarked on you, so.
it's a very good crew.
Yeah. I think we have
All around.
a fantastic town, and I have said it often that I'm happy to serve, and the municipal process here one is fair and transparent and looks out for the interests of the town and inhabitants thereof, and it's been an enjoyable 10 years on the board, 8 as chair, and it's all good. So glad to have you steering the ship there for the town as well, and lots of things going on as I'm sure you're quickly been made aware of. The Public Works Department here is fantastic, and you guys are often, I won't say often, but do come before the board for various projects, and it's
Same process as everyone.
the same process as everybody else, so no, it's a good one, it's a transparent one, and it's if you it's the course to navigate through that process is, I think, clear in the application process, and if it isn't, we've got fantastic town staff to help with that, so.
Yeah, and by all means, if there's anywhere you think that something that's coming before the board here has some sort of interface with public works components in some way.
Yeah, I think you saw it tonight,
Yeah.
It
comes up.
Mhm.
Don't hesitate to ask for.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I mean, if we had a sticking point on a potential application, I mean, we would, and it had overlay into the Public Works Department, absolutely, we steer towards you.
Yeah.
Great, happy to have you on board.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Right, is there any other tonight?
Yeah, you got the,
Oh, yes.
this policy that was triggered by a property owner to you, Bill, regarding the use of cell phones and rules for photos, filming and taping during planning board proceedings.
Right.
It was written out by Andy Hamilton. You guys have to discuss it and then hopefully vote on it, September 13th meeting.
Yeah, so
This was
tonight,
triggered from a meeting back on August 9th.
Yeah. So we're not voting on this tonight. We're just
discussing it.
talking about it. Dave, do you have a copy of that?
Yes, I do, right in front of me.
Great. So this is the rules for use of cell phones, rules for photos, filming and taping during planning board proceedings. And just, I guess for the record, I'm gonna read it aloud, so bear with me. So the first point is, the chair notes that the Maine Freedom of Access Act, Title 1 MRS 404 specifically authorizes the public to record public proceedings in order to promote government transparency. Point 2 says, however, the board and its chair must maintain order in these proceedings. The board has ample authority to provide for an orderly meeting without disruption. Accordingly, the chair lays out the following guidelines regarding members of the public using phones to photograph or record for the meeting. Point 3.
You should read one.
Oh, yeah, sorry, thanks. So then, yeah, footnote 1, which is referenced from point 2 here, says, in the absence of an ordinance or other law to the contrary, boards generally have the authority to adopt their own bylaws or rules of procedure without specific legislative authority or approval. And then it refers to the Maine Clean Fuels Incorporated 310 8.2D 736, Maine 1973. And alternatively, the board could refrain from addressing the matter in the bylaws and could simply address procedural issues as they arise. The Maine Supreme Judicial Court held in Jackson versus Town of Kennebunk, I can never read, 538.2D 17, Maine 1987, that in the absence of a controlling statute, ordinance, or rule, a local board may adopt any procedure it wishes so long as that procedure does not violate due process. Right, so then it goes on to point 3, is that the placement and use of television and video cameras, still cameras, motion picture cameras, cell phone cameras, microphones, or other sound or video recording devices or equipment at board hearings for the purpose of recording the proceedings will be regulated by the chair so as to avoid interference with the orderly conduct of the hearing. And then there's footnote 2, says that this is an MMA standard language provided by the Maine Municipal Association. Point 3 or point 4 talks to that. To that end, the chair requests that members of the public please place all cell phones on mute and stow cell phones so as not to be disrupted during the meeting. If members of the public or the press wish to record the meeting, they are advised to sit in the back left corner of the room so as not to disrupt the proceedings. The chair requests that flash photography be kept to a minimum. And then point 5, it just says where we need to ask for a motion to adopt these time and manner rules for the conduct of these proceedings and a second. And so we'll vote on that on the 13th. Any discussion?
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
May I ask a question?
sure.
Why would you ever need flash photography in this room? And therefore provide a provision for that?
That's a good question. I mean, so we've had instances where like we have dimmed lights in here and like a presentation is being made or something.
Would this work for site visits as well? Actually, watch the site visits.
Oh, yeah.
So we,
It is a meeting.
yeah, so site visits are public meetings. And we have had, we've had issues with that in the past, like during the quarry proceedings where there was photography being made. The agent of the applicant did not recognize the press member. The press member was asked to leave. And then we had to have a special hearing because of that, you know, there was a due process issue with that. So I would expect this to extend to site meetings as well. Any comment on that, Dave? I think you were at that site meeting too.
No, I'm all set. Although I think I made the comment a while ago that even if a cell phone is on airplane mode, it can still take pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, the big thing we used to have trouble with is the phones were not on airplane mode and it was interfering with the recording device. And I mean, correct me if I'm mistaken, Heidi, but it doesn't seem like that happens as much.
We've had no problems with it.
Yeah.
We had no problems with it when we were told there were problems with it that I
Mhm.
see. That was pre-owl, so that's what I was relying on when I needed it.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any harm to having, making requests, but your phone's on airplane mode because, I mean, you know, things are dinging and beeping and all that fun stuff. And sometimes people just who are participatory in the process aren't paying attention and on their phones. And it's just, if anything, it's a distraction at best. So, that's been a long-standing policy for the chair to ask that, you know, the phones go in airplane mode, which I of course didn't ask tonight, but you know, figured we didn't have a packed house. Any other, so, all right, on the 13th, then we're gonna, you know, it's just given we probably will have a bit more people in the audience, public present at that hearing, I'll probably just go through this again, and I would suspect that I'm probably going to do this at the beginning of the hearing. So there may be a motion to take it out of order.
I think that would be appropriate.
Yeah,
It's gonna be number two.
it's going to be
It's
number
gonna be
2.
call to order, actually, call to order minutes, and then this,
Okay,
and then the public hearing.
fantastic. Then we don't have to take it out of order. Good. Okay, any other? Anything else? All right. Well, I've got 2 emails to send Claire, and maybe there's a motion. One more motion of the evening.
Motion to, Tracy Keller, I'll make a motion to adjourn this current meeting.
Dave Ashmore, second.
All right, all those in favor, Tracy,
Tracy Keller, I.
Dave,
Dave Ashmore, aye.
myself, William Hanley, aye. Thanks for joining us.